It's at Sign Ali. I'm amplifying what he's saying because I think you also have to be behind Trump and the legal maneuvers here. And it's our job to win in the court of public opinion.
See, I think it's not mutually exclusive. I think it can be mutually inclusive. We can stop the spiel and be, and show, a certain grassroots protesting kind of thing on the ground, which I think is important.
Right.
I think it's starting that this country needs to be engaged and start showing their opinion out in force instead of just in their home.
And Ali thinks that needs to happen now, which is what this website is. So, StopTheSteal.us is a website that has been put up in the last hour to organize all of the people who want to go do direct action right now. That's what they're doing.
Right, that's cool. And then the other component, the other leg of this is to support the legal moves that Trump's doing for the recount. But it's not mutually exclusive. I view it as a two-pronged.
We're violently in agreement.
Honestly, I think this is very frustrating because what we are seeing is the high potentiality of fast tracking what I've been calling the BioPatriot Act. Biden as a president and an inept Senate, even if it is run by the Republicans, is going to fast-track forced vaccines. And they're going to erode our civil liberties. And the Federal Reserve is already starting to do the digital wallet behind the scenes. They're not even going to wait for it to be written into a stimulus bill. They're starting to have. That means that George Webb has an account that is a digital wallet that's being set up right now by the Federal Reserve. Dale has a digital wallet being set up by the Federal Reserve right now. And they are just waiting to turn on the switch. And no one has known about it in the mainstream, other than people like you and I that have been talking about this for months. But the majority of the people out there don't realize that there's an infrastructure being built and put in place to erode our civil liberties and our ability to control commerce, our own commerce. So Biden is going to fast track this. Our only way. This is why I'm for getting in the streets and doing it a little bit more with a suit tie. Maybe get in the streets with a suit tie and a bullhorn. I don't know. But the point here is that people need to get engaged and try to get Trump remain in office to slow down these pillars that I'm worried about with the BioPatriot Act. Because under Biden, we had the CCP in the White House. That's what that means. Biden means President Xi is sitting in the Oval Office. That's what that means. And they're going to take over Taiwan. Google's already laying track in the ocean because they're already planning, the big techs are already planning that Hong Kong is going to fall. So Google's laying new track in fiber optic cable for the next big hub for the internet in Taiwan. And the tech companies are going there and they're hedging their bet. The way that the tech companies work is that, well, if the CCP falls, then that's great for capitalism because they'll have a true democracy and then an open market, and then they can come in and get it. If that doesn't happen and Xi has control and we lose hegemonic power in that region and Taiwan is somewhat captured, then what will happen is that they'll still have some access to China, but they're going to be their international operations is going to be heavily controlled by the CCP, and they don't care because at least they're selling more widgets or whatever services to the Asian mainland continent. And Wall Street doesn't care because the history of Wall Street is as long as you can make money today and tomorrow, they don't care if it's capitalism or communism. So the bottom line here is this. Biden being in office means a loss of our hegemonic power in the Pacific, and we're going to fast-track hell and lose our civil liberties. And that's why people need to be engaged. And unfortunately, we had a bunch of people running in the White House that didn't see this coming, or if they did see it coming, they were too inept to be able to put things in place to prevent this from happening. I mean, I'm just a guy from Detroit, and I don't understand why all the intelligentsia that's in the White House helping Trump throughout the last 4 years couldn't see this coming. I don't understand that. And we are on the verge of losing this country because of a steal that's taking place right now. And that's
this is the last thing. I understand, and I'll let Eddie and Gail go. I'll break away after this last sentence. Yeah, these are all arguments that are best made before the vote.
I wholeheartedly agree with you that the integrity of the election is paramount and that we need to investigate this in calm terms. I agree with that. But there are no coincidences. And it just seems as though that the Democratic Party is pushing these agendas that I'm very concerned about. All right? So there's a higher probability that if Biden is, quote, certified to win, they probably had some tainted votes in there. Because if it was so pure, then why are they pushing digital wallets so hard? Why? I mean, why are they pushing all these things so hard? That means that there's a larger agenda. That's that 21st century BS that I'm talking about with the CCP. The CCP bought Biden. And it's coming to a head here, George, that the country is at a crossroad. Are we going to go to socialism, or are we going to fight against it? And I'm not talking about fight at the ballot box in the next 4 years. We're on the verge of going kinetic.
Yeah. Okay.
This is where it's going.
I'm gonna. I've said my piece. I'll let Gail and Addie add into it. I agree with everything you say, but I do agree that whatever's certified at the end of the day, we have to accept the results. I just don't think that the certification occurred in 5 states and in a miracle hockey stick. It's miracle on ice, man. We have 5 hockey sticks all at once. So anyway, thank you.
Is known for being tied to labor unions, and labor unions are notorious for being corrupt. All right. So think about it. How hard would it be to actually have money? I'm not saying that I approve of this. I'm just saying I think this is what really happened. Right? Money's flowing from China, being diverted into the DNC coffer, and the DNC coffer is here's $1,000, another $1,000, another $1,000, and you give it to someone and say, hey, I want you to look the other way. The truck comes in, dumps $50,000, at a time parcels that all happen to be for Biden by a bunch of dead grandmothers. That's what's happening. I mean, I'm speaking in hyperbole, but I mean, you get the gist of what I'm saying.
Yeah.
These people, see, where they went wrong, where they, meaning the Democrats, went wrong, was that there wasn't a large enough margin of corruption, all right, during the 2016 election, and Trump was able to leapfrog that. See, they planned this out. They used the crisis. I'm not saying they used it. They didn't institute the crisis, meaning the Wuhan crisis. What I'm saying is they used the crisis, all right, and said, okay, now we've created a bunch of fear, and we're going to have a bunch of people decide to do the mail-in ballot, and that way, a lot of people were making these comments. It's easier to start doing the fake, sneak in the fake.
Yeah, I think that this country's...
They let the counts come in. So they knew what the numbers were, and then they allowed it at 4:30 in the morning, to do the dumpster truck and be able to just swing it enough to be in Biden's favor. Now there's no way that this country could swing from 11:30 at night to in the morning at 8 or 9 a.m. where it's a totally different dynamic.
Yeah, Peter Duke kind of called it in a way. He said he wouldn't be surprised if he woke up in the morning and it said that Biden won, which it more or less... But he had the complete opposite.
Trump is not the answer, because when Trump leaves, we have the same problem.
I think it's just to win now, though.
I agree. I totally agree with that.
Slows down the process.
Exactly. It only slows the process. So the question is, what's the real fix? All right, you have a patient. He's in intensive care, and right now all you can do is treat some of the peripheral issues, but you can't really get to the root cause. All right, that's going to take more surgery or more.
Yeah, I agree.
And,
Trump is just going to buy his time. He's buying us 4 more years. He's buying us some breathing room. Right now we're in it's a Stalingrad. It's the same.
To be dismantled, because the Achilles heel of the system is the Federal Reserve.
Yeah.
The heart of the system is the Federal Reserve, and that means the tear down of the Federal Reserve. And we go in force and do it. There's 12 banks that are the Federal Reserve. They're surrounded and they're destroyed. I'm talking about something that is a war. I'm talking about having hundreds or 150 or 250,000 people that are armed that actually demand change. And if the change does not happen, then there needs to be a destruction of the institutionalization, and it starts with the currency, the mechanism, the currency mechanism, because that is the root. That is literally the root of all of this problem. And you beg Congress to totally take away the Federal Reserve. Disband the Federal Reserve. If not, it's destroyed. And the people destroyed. Because what is happening is through the digital wallet that we're going to lose our civil liberties. So what's the Achilles heel of the system? It's the digital wallet. Who's instituting the digital wallet? The Federal Reserve. Attack the source. So why doesn't 150,000 people rile up and demand forcefully the destruction, the dismantling of the Federal Reserve?
I think, that's a good point, Paul. I mean, we need to, I think, demand that. But there's many things that I think people should turn their attention to, whether it's, even looking at like the Epstein case with Ghislaine Maxwell. Transparency there has been, very slim to none. And so all of these people walking, at large, are protected by the NPA, the non-prosecution agreement. So whether it's, the pedophilia problem or... I'm feeling a little bit exasperated here, Paul. It's like, what else?
Well, the thing is that, the events are becoming more wow, exponentially. 9/11, wow, all right? The Wuhan crisis, wow, all right? This Patriot Act, wow, the wows are getting exponential here, and it's affecting us more and more and more. It's to the point where we've been sheep for too long, and that we have to do something about it. And informing is important, but the problem is, the way it's being informed is being curtailed by the platforms. Well, if we're not getting change, then we're going to have to force change. All right? You do it. You ask peacefully. You knock on the door and say, "Hello, I would like the Federal Reserve to not do digital wallets, so I don't lose my civil liberties, so I can, not be force vaccinated. That you don't have a mechanism of tracking me and curtailing me with social scoring, and you do it nicely, but they still do it. Then what is our other recourse? Just to sit back and allow it to happen? I mean, to me, it seems the only recourse is force. But there needs to be enough people that are willing to do that. And there needs to be a funding mechanism to have the weapons, to have the material, to make sure that they have the tents and the food and the housing and everything. And that's coordinated, that's actually marched through or vehicle through, that there's enough vehicles that are provided to this group where they're moving through and tearing down the system. Because if it's 150,000 force, you're talking about tens of millions of dollars needed. Now the question is there someone willing to pay for it?
You're talking about a private army.
I'm saying a group of citizens that band together that crowdsourcing the funds, that actually funds the militia, and it's large enough, because you can't do it like Ruby Ridge, or not the Ruby Ridge, the Ranchers.
Waco.
No, the Ranchers.
Yeah,
was it Waco?
Yeah.
No, I'm thinking of the Rangers that were in Colorado.
That was Colorado, was it?
Or was it Colorado?
Yeah, somewhere in the Mountain West.
Yeah. So they only had a couple hundred, that were on. I'm talking about 150,000. What, the U.S. military is going to, that Trump is going to actually, let's just say Trump wins, right? Or let's say Biden wins. But the President of the United States is going to, lay hell on 150,000 patriots that are demanding the destruction of the Federal Reserve. I don't think so. I don't think so. I don't think the optics will look right there. The thing is that if you only have 100 or 1,000, yeah, you can smash them up, and media spins it as a bunch of right wingers, and the government's okay. But once you reach a certain threshold of people that are armed and are demanding institutional change that doesn't erode the civil liberties that are guaranteed in the Constitution. Once you get past that threshold, then the government can't do anything about it. I think the number is about 150,000. I think if you're below 150,000, then you're talking about that there's this saying, oh, you're right winger. If you got 30,000, oh, it's the Michigan militia. That's a right winger type stuff. All right? But once you reach a certain threshold, then you have something that's legitimate. But if it's too below, if it's too below, but the thing is that 330 million people are going to live in tyranny. That's what's happening here. 330 million people will live in tyranny if the digital wallet is instituted, because that is the mechanism of social scoring and social control. And everything that goes along with it, which means forced vaccines. Or 150,000 people that are willing actually to die for the country to save it. That's the weight here.
Yeah.
And I don't understand why. So I understand. I mean, George Washington was able to do it. I mean, I don't understand. Where's the revolutionary spirit on this? Have we really been, have we lost that spirit of what it means to be an American?
Through our education system.
You say it again?
So probably has been lost through the education system. I mean, I went through the New York.
The pitchfork that's on the wall.
Can
we bring that?
Well, I tried to talk Peter out of it. He had coming off the wall.
I love the pitchfork.
Okay, so to that end, these things are really easy to make. I bought this thing on Amazon for $20. I'm sure you can go to Home Depot and buy a pitchfork for $20. I got a black can of spray paint, and I spray painted it black because everybody knows that black things are scarier and more dangerous than other things. Right. So it's my assault pitchfork.
Right. And it's got a scope on it?
It's got a scope and it's got a laser.
That's perfect. That is perfect.
And a quad rail.
That is perfect.
That's going to be the watch.
I'm going to get offline here, guys. I'm going to book your ride for this Detroit trip.
More dangerous than other things.
Right.
So it's my assault pitchfork.
Right. And it's got. Can we bring that?
Well, I tried to talk Peter out of it. He had coming off the wall.
I love the pitchfork.
Okay, so to that end, these things are really easy to make. I bought this thing on Amazon for $20. I'm sure you can go to Home Depot and buy a pitchfork for $20. I got a black can of spray paint, and I spray painted it black because everybody knows that black things are scarier and more dangerous than other things. Right. So it's my assault pitchfork.
Right. And it's got a scope on it?
It's got a scope and it's got a laser.
That's perfect. That is perfect.
And a quad rail.
That is perfect.
That's going to be the watch.
I'm going to get offline here, guys. I'm going to book your ride for this Detroit trip because Peter just gave me all these numbers. So.
Okay.